Absolutely tragic news today about Kyle Busch, a NASCAR legend who has died at the age of 41 and very suddenly and mysteriously at this point. What we know is that NASCAR announced this morning, or rather his team, Richard Childress Racing, announced this morning that he had been hospitalized and that he was getting treatment for a, quote, severe illness. Didn't know anything more than that, but just a matter of hours, 6 hours after that announcement, NASCAR has announced that he has indeed died. And we don't know, again, the details of what he was going through, but here's what we do know. Kyle Busch, who we'll get into his incredible record in NASCAR as a driver in just a moment, but he raced just last weekend at Watkins Glen in upstate New York. During that race, they announced, the announcers on the broadcast said that he had been battling some sort of sinus cold. And in fact, they had radio transmission from Kyle Busch to his team during the race. At a point, he said to his team, call Dr. Bill. I'm going to need him after the race. Make sure that you have him. So after the race, I'm going to need him. And he said, I'm going to need a shot. So whatever he was going through, Kyle Busch had in mind that he's going to need some sort of medical aid as soon as that race was over. We don't know what he was feeling, but we do know, and they said this during the broadcast, that when you have a sinus infection or sinus cold, when you're driving a NASCAR vehicle, you are going through incredible G-forces that you feel as you go through the turns, and that can exacerbate any sinus issues you're having. So that's likely something that Kyle Busch was experiencing during the race, and maybe why he said he was going to need a shot. So then after the race, all we know is that he was hospitalized at some point. There's a report that says he was hospitalized this week. We don't know exactly which day this week he went into the hospital. But again, just a few hours after they announced that he was getting treatment, comes the announcement that he has now passed away at 41 years old. Kyle Busch, whose nickname to NASCAR fans, they know this, was frequently called Rowdy, sometimes Wild Thing, because this guy was super aggressive on the track in a good way. He was, if you were on his team, he's the guy you wanted up front because he was going to do whatever was necessary to make sure he got to the front. And if at all possible, he would make sure his teammates got up there with him as well. So he was a guy who was often painted as the villain, but like the villain that NASCAR fans loved. You either loved him as a fan, you're one of his supporters, or you loved to root against him because he was always, tangling with your favorite racer. So he was definitely painted as a villain for a long time, especially when he was racing with Joe Gibbs Racing. And he's most recently has been racing with Richard Childress. But he loved that role. He ate it up. He embraced it. He's like, he loved it when fans would boo. And make no mistake, though, this was not a guy who was just out there banging into other cars and making other people lose. He won, and he won more than anybody else in NASCAR history. He won a total of 234 races. That's over his career and over 3 different series in NASCAR. He raced trucks, has the most wins in the truck series. He has the most wins in the Xfinity series. And I believe he's 9th all time for the Cup series. So this guy, but all told in all 3 of those series, 234 wins puts him at the very top of number of races won by a NASCAR driver. So this guy is a legend. He was going to be a Hall of Famer, will still be a Hall of Famer, no doubt. But this is a huge loss for the sport of NASCAR. And I know, just from a personal note, I became a big NASCAR fan probably about 10, 12 years ago and went to a lot of races. And everybody wanted to know at all times, where was Kyle Busch on the track? And people looked out for him because he was either charging to the front or he was, tangling with your favorite racer. This was a guy that NASCAR fans loved to watch, loved to cheer for, loved to cheer against. And now he is gone. He leaves behind his wife, Samantha, and their two kids, a young boy and a young girl, who really sadly just celebrated birthdays, 11 years old and 4 years old. And now their dad, Kyle Busch, the NASCAR legend, has passed away. We obviously are going to be following this on the website for more details about what he was going through, what this severe illness was, and why he died just a matter of hours after they announced that he was getting treatment. So stay tuned to TMZsports.com, TMZ.com. We will have more information as we get it.